Okay, cool. All right. So let me move everybody over. So, okay. So we're, hey, everybody, welcome. And, it's a creepy, weird, I mean, it's like Twilight Zone mixed in with, I've never taken drugs, but I imagine if I would, it'd be close to that. We're going to take and run through and cover some things. I brought some great panelists in. Chris, we got good audio?
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine. I'm just busy looking for Keith still. Don't see him yet.
Well, worst case scenario, we'll cover for him when he's there. But we've got a great panelist online. The whole topic of this one is to really not get into the whole. I'm going to go into what's essential, what's not essential. Very little. I made a video, watch that, and a podcast. We'll be updating that at least weekly as things change. But this is the latest and greatest. So we've got a great panelist on the line right now, and I'd like to just go ahead and start it. So today's topics is our podcast and video and are you essential, non-essential business? Our panel professionals today and their input and advice. We're going to cover what if you're not essential, what now, staffing, what to do with your staff, paying your bills, your company bills, your mortgage, your rent, all that good stuff. One of my biggest points today is going to be taking and surviving the busy season. It will be here before we know it. And believe it or not, this thing will probably be through its course if we can get everybody to stay off the damn beaches in California. And then Joel's going to be covering what we should be doing this week. We had a conversation last night that was really interesting. We've got Keith that's going to come in. I'll go through them right now. And then the right outlook and when your attitude counts is really important. So reality check this morning when we woke up is that cruise ship, one of the cruise ship that had all those stranded people on it, 17 days after they de-embarked and before it had been cleaned, 17 days later, it still had the coronavirus on in it. So if you think this is a joke, it's not. Now, a lot of these ships are, a lot of people don't know it, they're pre-treated. So they go in and sanitize. They use a electrostatic system, some of them, not all of them, not some of them. The ones that do really care, and I bet you they're going to go back to that system now. And what it does is it not only takes in, well, they'll take, it's a multi-step process where they'll come in and they'll spray the chemicals that all over the entire ship. It's food safe. The products that we've been exposed to in the past, and it's electrically charged so that it sticks to the surfaces. Then they'll come back with another chemical that reduces the spread of bacteria. Now, viruses don't spread. They don't grow and grow and grow and multiply. Once they're on the surface, they stay there. Bacteria can spread. And so these ships are treated. It's a lot of money. I mean, they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in treating these things. 17 days after this ship, as it sat there, here's all the stuff that we've been talking about, even in our address last night, was that 96 hours. Well, guess what? That's probably going to change because we got a big old stinking cruise ship that's got 17 days worth of this bug still on there. So there's a reality check for this morning, how quickly things change. Bold statements. I want you guys to stop accepting and watching and allowing some of this horse's ass statements that are being done. I just saw one that said, you know what? We do a lot of things in this industry. This isn't the worst virus we've ever seen. Really? Because in my lifetime, in my almost 54 years on this planet, I've never seen India with 1.3 billion people cap a country and close it down. So if this ain't the worst thing you've seen, I'd like to see what it is, because I can give you 1.3 billion reasons why this is probably the worst thing that we've ever seen bug-wise in our lifetimes. The other bullshit statements is my doctor told me, you know what? I hate to say it. Right now, your doctor doesn't know. The CDC doesn't know. The military doctors don't know. The scientists don't know. We're going to still be finding things out about this bug. They just cracked it recently, and they're going to be able to age date it to see how old of a virus it is. They're going to be finding stuff out for years to come about this thing. I'm making my own. Okay, so now you're a chemist. Now you're going to make your own mixture. Good for you. But you know what? Wonder if it doesn't work, homeboy or homegirl. Simple as that. And also, I'd like to see where your chemistry degree is from and your schooling to tell you that. School of Hard Knocks, you know what? Bullshit. I'm not accepting it. I never get sick. good for you, but you're going to make other people that do get sick and die possibly. This is a conspiracy. Maybe it is, but it's our reality. So why are we making excuses for it? So there's my kind of pissed off. This screen just got made like 5 minutes ago. What this webcast is about in the future is Diane and I produced a podcast and a video, and I'm going to ask you, if you did not watch that, please do. We don't want to get into great depth about, oh yeah, well, why are we a non-essential? Why are we essential? I can only share the facts that I've got right now and the facts of the facts. We're gonna have a follow-up online events to deal with the technical issues, the products, the equipment. We're gonna bring those experts in throughout the next week or two. We're gonna bring you in guests to help you survive to get ready for the recovery. That's what today is all about. And then thinking ahead, I want you guys, don't get stuck on this. Don't get your panties all in a bunch. Don't get your underwear all wrapped around the axle on this right now. You need to be thinking like true entrepreneurs do. And right now, stop, drop, and roll, calm yourself down. And you know what? There's a lot of people that are going to reach out. In worst case, go get a job for a little bit. There's a lot of things that we're going to talk about today that are going to help you with that. Now, in the meantime, this is something that the Mafia does. We do a little thing called Eat Your Competition. And what I want you guys to do is think about this. The smart entrepreneurs that are listening right now they're already thinking about, how am I going to take advantage of this in a very moral and ethical way, and how am I going to be stronger than my competition when we come out of this? Well, by surviving is one of them. I'm amazed that in 10 short days, it seems that about half the industry is already bankrupt. We've been talking a long time about putting money away, and I'm sorry if I'm being a little blunt, but we're going to be a little blunt. There's no reason to take and sugarcoat this and give you all participation trophies, because there's going to be people that don't make it through this. But those that care, those that are on here, and those that are going to watch this, and those that are going to, there's another broadcast being done by somebody else. I honestly don't know who it's being done, but man, I'd be sitting in on all of these and take out little nuggets that you get out of it. But there's a lot of people, a lot of valuable people with a lot of great opinions and a lot of great experiences. There's also a lot of bullshit. There's a lot more bullshit going around. So be very careful on who's got your ear and your brain. The biggest thing I want to tell you off this screen right here is, man, you want to be this little fishies, or do you want to be that shark? Be a predator right now when this thing comes back. What I mean by that is that I'm going to keep myself strong and healthy so that when the recovery does come back, my company's in a good, because there's going to be a lot of people freaked out that want to get they just got, what was I saying earlier today that I was cooties. There's a lot of, man, I'll tell you what, as soon as we're released and they say, hey, it's all clear, man, I'm detailing my car's interiors. I got cooties big time right now. I don't want anybody else's cooties. Even though the virus has done its thing, I'm detailing my cars. Matter of fact, the ones that aren't, we're only driving one car right now. Everything else is in lockdown. We've got all of our additional cars, so they don't get anything in them on lockdown. But guess what? Everything's going to get detailed. A lot of people are going to feel that way. So be ready for that. No, I've got some cool dudes and a chick. And matter of fact, before we get started much more, my wife Diane's here with us, and it is her birthday today. So everybody wish her a happy birthday. Her and my daughter, our daughter's was yesterday. They're quarantined, but I'll tell you what, there couldn't be two better people to be quarantined with on their birthday. So also, both of us are in the Guard, and she just got activated. So she's taking off probably here in the next 48 hours. And we wish her luck and Godspeed to her, and be careful and go do amazing things for us. And I'll probably be right behind you. So save a spot in your room, because I think they're going to room us together. With that being said, this beautiful man, AKA Bob Phillips, AKA Eye Candy, he's going to be joining us. Joel, my brother up north, he's with us. Some great input. Keith's another military guy with a ton of experience that's got a very level-headed mind. He's going to bring with us Big D. If you haven't heard Big D's shop yesterday, the CDC had a great conversation with the CDC. He's going to be talking essential versus non-essential. Chris, my hitman, he's going to be talking about future events and what's going on. And then, of course, Diane and I here to kind of orchestrate this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for taking the time. We hope that all of you will get something big out of this. So we're going to go ahead. Chris, is Daryl ready to go?
He should be.
Yeah,
Daryl, you're up, buddy. Let's talk about your story, man. Tell us what happened with you in the last 48.
Hey everybody. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, and I think we were probably the fourth state that got shut down behind New York, California, Illinois, and Ohio yesterday. So with a bunch of detailers going on Facebook and making the comment about we're essential, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to know for myself. And JD, my general manager, he had already been talking, trying to get through to the CDC, and I called, and lucky enough, I got a hold of a lady. She was very blunt. She was very honest. And I asked her every question I could possibly ask her, from everything from steam cleaning to disinfecting to bleach, you name it, black lights. None of it was essential. The only thing that she told me was essential is if we were cleaning ambulance, first responders, anything like that, that we were helping transport patients, anything to get them to the hospital or to the doctor, and we don't. She said that even a one-person show or a mobile detailer should not be open at this time, for the fact of you can move the virus, you can transport the virus to another car, whether you've got, and I don't know who has PPE. I'm not here to bash anybody or say anything bad like that, but some of those things right now, we don't have the equipment we need. There's nothing on the market, from what she told me, that has been tested and proved. And again, she did everything she could to explain to me where we were and what we should be doing. She told me at one point, she said, I hear it in your voice. She said, I wish I could help you, but you are not essential. And she said, you need to go home and stay at home. She said, your best benefit will be when this is over. So that's why I called Rennie yesterday, and I said, I know these guys think they're essential. I know they all think they have a value, and I know we all do, but right now we don't have a value to this.
Well, I'm going to back that up. We had a conversation. Ironically, I was getting ready for the video. Diane will tell you yesterday was one of the most strenuous, emotional, challenging days of my career, because I came out, I'd done about 80 hours of research. I talked to so many people that I couldn't even count. I'd read, I was up one day for 20 hours straight, and all I was doing is reading and talking. And I cover that in the podcast and the video, Diane and I do. But we are blessed to where a buddy of mine that's in EMS, high levels, he brought me in on a call, the CDC, just to listen in. They actually had a silent period, so I asked a couple questions. What does justify? Here's some people in our community. They didn't know, not knowing where I came from or who I was. I wanted to kind of state it bluntly. And so I said, automotive related businesses such as detailers. And basically the CDC representative said there's two things to ask them, two test questions. Is A, are they working within EMS? And do they have absolute positive PPE in place, standard operating procedure? If they're working within EMS and it's a considerable amount of their work, yes. The other question is that are they essential business to keeping the mechanics of a car where the car is running safely? And I said, what about interior sterilization? They said it's too broad. It doesn't keep the car running. We're talking about mechanics, tire shops, windshield replacements, safety aspects of the car, and so forth. And that's a negative. And so I know people are out there pushing the limits. Well, we're running underneath the mechanics. We're taking wheels off the cars to coat them. You know what? Okay, push it. You can push that. I understand you want to survive. I really do. I can only give you the facts. Big D's just giving you the facts of what we're being said. At some point, we're going to tickle that giant in a bad spot, and that giant's going to come back. And I'm afraid they're going to use some people as an example, and they're going to squash some people. The other thing is what if your shop or your mobile operation is the source for an outbreak in your local area? They're tracing these things back. They could trace it back to you. Germany's done a fabulous job. Some states are going to test, are do it. And here's the other thing: the media's strong. They want blood. Blood sells. And could you imagine what it would do to your business and our businesses, all of our businesses, our entire industry, if a detailer gets related back to an outbreak? Shame on you. So you know what? I'm not telling you to shut down. I'm just telling you the facts. You're going to have to morally and ethically ask yourself. And you know what? A lot of people right now are acting blinded because you know what? It's scary. We're all in the same spot. All of us are in the same exact spot. Now, some are in financial distress. Well, let this let this come through as a learning lesson, and don't put yourself back in this position ever again, but you've got to survive it. So Big D, thank you. I know it was how many staff do you have that you had to tell this to yesterday?
Well, I want to add something to what you just said. She did tell me on the phone that if for any reason you state any way, shape, or form about the virus, you can be held liable for it. That this can come back to you. You can be sued if somebody was to get sick, that you're claiming you have the expertise to kill this, it can come back on you. So just think about that. I actually have 19 employees, and I let everybody go yesterday.
Wow. Huh? Yeah. 19. And I know other people in the industry are doing the same. And it's not letting them go. There's a lot of, and Joel's going to get into it right now. There's a lot of opportunities. We'll get to him in just a second, that you as an employer have got, there's some things that we can be doing, and Joel's going to jump into this. But here's the other thing is that Diane brought up yesterday is recontamination, is that you give the falsehood that their car has been sanitized, but maybe they're already carrying the virus and they don't know, or someone or something gets in their car and recontaminates it. Now you've given them the false idea that their car is contaminated. What if that comes back on you? You know, there's an awful lot of unknowns right now. So Dee, thank you so much. I love that your attitude yesterday was very positive. That's why I brought you on. Stay with it, man. And we're gonna all feed each other. So from here is, I'm excited about this, is my buddy Keith, is he's going to kind of share with us some PPE facts, the big picture, and his expertise. You could cause an outbreak, managing yourself, taking care of just not you, but your local reputation and business. So Keith, welcome, and appreciate you being on.
All right, am I unmuted? I don't know if I am.
Unmuted.
You sure are.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things here. My background, obviously 30 plus years in the military medical field, plus all the time in the detail industry. And one of my concerns when we spoke as a group the other day was, hey, okay, you are decontaminating vehicles. Do you have the proper equipment? I recently did some research with the CDC. We essentially, if we're going to say we're deconning a vehicle, need to have healthcare worker level protective equipment. So that's the disposable gowns, the disposable masks, gloves, all of that gear. And that is part of it. And then you can't wear that vehicle to vehicle. Each vehicle is like a new patient contact. Strip it, self-sterilize, go to the next set, put that on, and go to your next location. The thing I will say is, if you are not already doing biohazard cleanup and built for that level of decontamination, with resources where they are, there's no way you're going to get there. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the picture right now. Materials are not available. We're seeing everybody, harbor, freight, any manufacturer, any carrier of protective equipment that has it, that is not essential, is donating or selling that at cost over to healthcare facilities. So it's a misconception, I think, on all our part if we think we can go out and acquire those materials. So my advice to everybody would be, if you are not built for this now, you're not built for this, and you can't build this airplane while you're flying it. So lesson learned. Okay, if you want to be ready for the next one, great, good deal. If you want to start planning for the cleaning post release of everybody back into, if you will, public circulation, that's an opportunity. This will change how we look at things. I was talking today with someone and I said, look, the reality of the shelter in place and hold the line is not that we're going to stop this thing. It is giving us a pause in the action to build the resources, the excess of PPE, the excess of ventilators, all those necessary medical materials, so that when everybody does re-interact, we have the capacity to handle the cross-contamination. So that's my first thing when it comes to that. PPE is on a use-by-use basis, has to be used, one person or one patient contact. In your case, that's a vehicle. So if you're not built to dispose of that, you are not built to do this. Big picture. the big picture is we don't know what the big picture is. If you've been watching, and for those who don't know, the Johns Hopkins, you can Google this, has a tracker. Now, it's not super accurate, but I think it's a relatively good broad stroke picture of the testing and the mortality rates as reported within, say, the last 48 hours. The trend is going to explode in the next 6 to 10 days. Why? Test kits are coming online. We are going to see cases exponentially grow. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden it got worse. That means we're actually discovering the extent to which there are people out there contaminated. So I would advise all of you to, keep a close eye on that and understand that the outlook is going to get worse. That doesn't mean it is worse. It just means that that's the outlook. And as Rennie said, the sharks are in the water. So next piece that goes with that is resource conservation. The biggest resource I have in my unit, and I'm, just so you guys know, I am the Chief Healthcare NCO for the 36th Infantry Division. We have over 14,000 soldiers in our formation. We have over 800 medical professionals. That's medics, doctors, PAs, nurses, you name it. We're conserving our force. We know that when we get to a level where lockdowns become mandatory, testing becomes broader, that we need to have healthy resources available to work in this field. So for you guys who are online today, you need to think of yourself in that way as well. How am I conserving resources? One of the first things you learn in medic school in the Army is can't help nobody if you're dead. So the first thing they teach us, and Rennie, they teach you this in search and rescue as well, survey the scene, assess what you're walking into, properly prepare yourself and protect yourself, then proceed. So for you guys, this is a chance to reset, be prepared, and be ready to go, and allocate your resources forward toward the time when we are released and when we can go make our opportunity to clean cars for people who want the cooties gone. It's really important. I mean, here's the other thing that Big D didn't actually mention, but is part of the underlying thinking of what the CDC is saying here. Guys, what if one of your employees is a carrier and they don't know it? Forget the PPE they're wearing, they're carrying it with them. So we are cross-contaminating from within, because unless you've tested every employee and you've got a clean bill of health on everybody, we're under the assumption as a population, none of us have this. The truth is, none of us have presented symptoms, so we may not, or we probably are not going and getting tested just to validate our belief. And the reason you're not doing that is there's not enough resources for you to do that right now. So I would caution you that, one of the first things we've got to do with our resource allocation is ensure that the resource is actually clean to begin with before we move forward into actually employing that resource. And that resource, again, are the soldiers and are the professionals in our industry. So unless you've done that level of due diligence, again, I don't know that you really can say you are ready to clean vehicles, okay? And as Rennie's got on the screen there, you could cause an outbreak. How do you do that? Either you're a carrier or you cross-contaminate. It is more likely you'll cross-contaminate than it is that you will clean the vehicle completely. And I was talking to a really smart guy yesterday. I won't use his name, but he's a dear friend and a guy I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And even he was saying, all we can do is leave the vehicle cleaner or better than we found it, but there's no guarantee that we can remove everything that's in that vehicle as far as potential contamination. So my question to you is that the end result that you're willing to sell to a customer when they're coming to you with an expectation, whether you've given them that or not? Hey, I'm going to get my vehicle cleaned and sterilized, and I'm going to be safe in my vehicle. Until they walk through the Fred Meyer or the shopping center, get in their vehicle as a carrier, smear that on the surface, and then they're back to being contaminated a day later. So at this point, are we really doing the service that we think we are? And like I say, manage yourself. One of the big things here is you guys have to be mentally, physically prepared. Your reputation is on the line here. And the IDA just put out a new release today. For those that didn't see it, check it out. Their abundance of caution is there. The other thing is their advocation is, do not trust me do not trust Rennie Doyle. Do not trust Daryl Lyons. Go to the CDC. Go to the EPA. Validate, trust but validate. We know what we're doing, and we think we're professional, and that we've done our due diligence. But if you don't believe me, I'm fine with that. Go with the doctors. Go with, the people who are professionals in this industry as far as actual clinical scientific research. Go to the CDC and see what their standard is. Go to the EPA and see what their chemical standard is. Those are the people you should trust. When I cite things, I don't say this is my opinion. I say this is what I've read at the CDC, and this is what I'm basing my method for how I would recommend you proceed. So again, fact-based or evidence-based is always your best way to go. And again, this isn't the end-all be-all opinion for me, but I think this is the right answer. And one last thing, I'm gonna talk about the military for a second. No soldier in the Guard or Reserve wants martial law to ever be declared. So I think before we get into that panic-stricken case of employment of the Guard, I've been activated. I haven't been asked to go anywhere or report anywhere yet. And I probably won't be until we get further down the road and there's more of a need or demand. So your soldiers, your local community members who will step into that role like Diane and Rennie will, we're being held back a little bit in that we don't have a defined role for what we're going to do, and we don't have an absolute demand. So governors are going to be judicious in their employment of soldiers to solve problems that are immediate and present, and they will hold back the remainder of their force until they have a need for it. So I think we're all a little premature with martial law and those kind of panic level things. Again, if we as the public do what we should do, which is shelter in place and do our social distancing and manage our health, those next measures won't be necessary. That's all I got.
Well, I'll tell you, Keith, good job. Couple things is that both Diane and I are activated also. Diane just got orders, so she's going to headquarters. She is going to be incoming. She's going to any soldiers now. The amazing thing is all they're doing is getting ready, and what they're really doing right now is all the talk on the briefs that I've been to, and Keith, you've been to a lot more than me, is that martial law. Usually the thing that only comes up with martial law is how to tell people that it's not happening. I mean, not right now unless society turns on itself. But that's the last thing we're talking about. And the only reason we are is because the public's talking about it. And so calm down and tell everybody just chill and stay home.
Yeah, I mean, even the governors, Governor Brown and Daryl, you were right on, who is the governor of Oregon, put her place in of, non-essential personnel need to stay home. So the shelter in place, similar to what you just saw happen in Kentucky, happened here yesterday, officially. That went into play. The governors, and again, I'm in a liberal state, so take this for what it's worth. This is not a Republican. This is not a Democrat. This is not a liberal. This is not a conservative thing. This is nobody wants to be the one to impose stricter, or more restrictions on people's personal liberty. That's not what they want. They only want to enact those activities because people fail to take the abundance of caution that they're being advised to take by our best scientists and advisors in the CDC and EPA in those areas.
Amen. Amen. Well said. Thanks, Keith. All right. So Here we go. So survivalist mentality is, Diane and I want to talk about this for a second. I'm going to go back to 93, is that I had my first financial economic slowdown, a minor recession back in 93. I was a young entrepreneur. And, there's a book back then called Guerrilla Marketing. And I went into guerrilla marketing factor. I grew my business at a time that the housing industry, I was really involved in the new housing industry. I owned a window tinting company at the time, and we did window shades, blinds, shutters, all that also. That was the biggest part of our business. Well, I started marketing back to the auto window tinting side of things. We brought more work in that way. And then I just went down and I built up all my personal relationships. As that started to slow down, man, I took off. I mean, while other people were dying, and as a matter of fact, in that time frame, I actually sold the company. Somebody came and made me an offer, and I walked away, and a week later I was in Hawaii, on vacation. So there's the reality of that. And then you go into the late 90s, we had two things. We had the mutual fund meltdown. We survived that. And matter of fact, we again, it was an adjustment, a small adjustment period of literally a couple months. We had the tech bubble, again, a couple months. We figured it out. We just kept marketing. Everything's being based off of our businesses on relationships, not online. I think that's one of the things that people are freaking out on, because a lot of people have taken and filled their Easter basket with all the pretty Easter eggs of social media, and they haven't gone out and they've never shook hands and kissed babies. So we took, and we always had tight relationships, and those relationships carried us through the tough times. The same thing with the tech bubble, and then a big one hit. We just invested in a brand new company, spent over 6 figures to launch the company, and 9/11 happens. And that company was directly related to travel and luxury. And guess what happened? The airspace closed down. Everybody was freaking. Nobody was going anywhere. Yet we came out of it really strong. And then 2008 scared the shit out of us. Did we lose a lot of money? Yeah, we lost money. We lost forward progression is what happened. We aren't where we wanted to be at this time in life because of 2008. Well, guess what? We're going to be in the same spot right now. This is going to slow us down a little bit. But guess this one, the difference on this one, this just slowed down the whole world. India just closed down 1.3 billion people. Listen, this thing's serious. And if you don't take it serious, you better start looking at it. Our professionals today that are talking to you is they've lived through the same things. I'm going to bring a lot of people on. You're going to hear these voices again, and a lot more people that we're going to reach out to. I don't want to just share my opinion alone, because my opinion is not always right. My opinion is not always right for you. And so I want to bring different people in with different opinions so that you get fed off of it. What if you're not essential? What now? Let me tell you, what you do is you hunker down and you start working on your business. You start working and doing all the things that you've wanted to do that you haven't done. You support your local community by not exposing people. You take, and maybe it's time for you to shut yourself down in your garage at home and start doing some videos, how-to videos, and teaching your local market. Don't go out international and national. You don't have a big enough voice in most cases for that. But you do have a big enough voice locally to take and have a little fun, lighten people's spirits. Let them know what they can do to their cars right now. Be fun about things. Post fun videos. People right now, I love to be entertained. I have a threshold. At some point, the coronavirus is turned off in my house. And all I want to do is I'm looking at cool cars. I'm talking with my family. I'm researching things, especially after today. We've worked, Chris and I, Diane, Keith, all of us, Joel, everybody's worked tirelessly the last week. I have never worked so hard. I just talked to Bob Phillips, which you're going to hear from in a minute. He's never worked so hard. We've put a lot of hours in to take and make an educated assumption at this point, because it's changing so quickly, that we wanted to make sure that we're delivering you right information. So you're not essential. Here's what you're going to do is you're going to take and make yourself essential in other ways. Educate people. Okay. Take in and go, if you can, if there's something safe and a safe alternative that you can take and safely volunteer for in your community. A lot of people are in need right now. Reach out to those people safely without jeopardizing your family. Don't take and go spread this shit around anymore. Calm down. But you know what? There's a lot of things you can do in your community to show your true colors. Go and do those things right now. Also, some things to do is that if you're a shop, go to your landlords. Ask for a deferment, not for forgiveness, not for debt forgiveness, but ask them for 3 months. Say, hey, can we put the next 3 months at the back of this year? Once this thing churns, I'll divide those 3 months into, we'll divide it up and I'll get you paid back. But right now, I need to conserve money. Do that now. Don't wait for that. Do it right now. Do the same thing if you're in a tight spot and you can't make your rent payment for your house or your apartment, is go and talk to your landlord there. If you're in a position where you're a homeowner and you see that man, this thing's going to get tight, talk to your mortgage company right now. The key thing to all this is that we learned in 2008 is you're not going to market your way through this over the next few weeks. You're just not. This thing's bigger than all of us. And again, go and communicate even with your credit card companies, with your bank, everybody else. Maybe what they'll do is your insurance company for your business. Maybe because you're not operating, they'll go ahead and keep your insurance in place, but they'll defer payments until everything starts back up. So be honest with people, you know, go to them, go to your staff right now. What do you do if you have staff? I hate to say it. Diana's right here. Our biggest mistake that we made back in 08 was keeping our staff on way too long. If I was in your situation, unless you are truly an essential business, is I would cut all unneeded staff. You got to take in, there's going to be, Joel's going to talk about some things that are available to staff members to help them. If indeed you are essential business, which probably not, I mean, there's probably 1% of the detailers in the entire globe that are, but if you are, again, the government's got some incentives for you to keep those people at work. So go find that out. Pin your bills and your company bills right now. Again, find out what's essential in your payments. You know, try to keep your credit score intact if you can, because when we come out of this, you're going to need it. If you've got line of credits, you know, look at that. But don't use your credit cards. Go get a job. Is that you cannot go into debt over this or ruin your credit over this. Go get 2 jobs. Go get 3 jobs. Do whatever you need to do. There's a lot of grocery stores right now, a lot of trucking companies that need help with people loading up trucks. There are jobs out there. Well, it doesn't pay very well. Well, it's better than nothing. And you know what? Have I been there? You know what? I have. I sold nuts and bolts in 1998 to make ends meet. Nuts and bolts. I mean, nuts and bolts. And you know what? I did it with pride, and I'd do it again. And then the most important thing right now that Diane and I have to tell you is survive. The busy season is right around the corner. And guess what? I'm guessing, if I was a betting man, that about the time the busy season really kicks off, which I think now because of this is even going to be busier. Listen, these companies, you know what everybody's doing right now? Everybody's down. Guess what they're doing? All of us we're biting at the bit to get back to business. Everybody's going to be doing that, and everybody's going to have the cooties. Now, the ironic thing that I've told people is, for years I've been telling people, you know what? All you guys should be concentrating more on interiors. If we're concentrating more on interiors, you guys are all badasses at paint correction. Well, guess what? You better hone in your skills on interiors right now. You better know what the hell you're doing, because everybody's going to have the cooties, and they're going to want to take and get the cooties out of their car. Survive, because the comeback's going to be huge. So how? Get a damn job if you have to. All the things I just listed before. Contact all your credit card companies if you can't pay your bills. Be honest up front. Foresee what you're going to do. You know, Bob Phillips and I are talking this morning before this call. Is we've got lines of credit in place. We've got things that we could go get. We don't need to be thinking there now, but we already have them in place. So we need them. We've got savings we can pull out of. We've got investments we can pull out of. Right now, what Diane and I, literally the second I get off this call, is that we are going to refinance our house because we need to? No, because we can save tens of thousands of dollars, probably like $100,000 on our loan, because we can take it down. The percentage rates on refinance right now are insanely good. So if you're a homeowner, do that right now. That's what the rich are doing, man. We're gonna make maybe 6 figures the next couple of weeks just refinancing your home. Are we going to make it right now? No, we're going to make it over the period of time. It doesn't matter. That's how the rich look at things. That's how the wealthy look at things. They take advantage of good situations and bad times. That's exactly what we have. It's not all negative. So stop thinking it is. And again, if you have not watched the video release that we just did, or listened to the podcast that we did yesterday, please do. And then please share it if you wouldn't mind. Okay, Joel, you up? You ready for this?
I guess as ready as I'll ever be.
There you go. Hey, we had a cool call late last night. God, what was that? Had to be like 1 or 2 a.m. your time in Canada. But man, I'll tell you, we figured out that we think a lot of like, and I'm really excited about, just like I was with Keith and Big D, what this man's going to offer you right now. Listen up, folks. Get your notebook out. Take some notes.
I think that's the first thing. I'd like everybody to get a piece of paper and a pen. Because I'm not going to talk about detailing, and I'm not going to talk about can we do work, can we not do work. I'm going to talk about a few different things. Every municipality, never mind state, federally, whatever, every municipality, the mayor, they're having the council meetings, and they're figuring out ways how to help people that are losing their jobs or they're not considered essential. Example where I lived yesterday, that happened. And just to give you a small example, one of the things that was brought up was your house taxes, your taxes that you pay on a quarterly basis on your home. What they're going to do now, and this is what you need to do as a detailer now, because you're not working, you need to work full time on figuring out where your money is, what you got coming in, what do you absolutely have to pay, and what don't you have to pay today. And these are things that you need to know. Okay, like Rennie said, the reason the rich get richer is because they educate themselves. Now I want you all to go out and we're all going to educate ourselves. There's money at all different levels. So for example, the local taxes on my home, it was just deferred. So our quarterly payment that was due is no longer due right now. They're going to postpone it. And what they're doing is they're postponing it without penalty. Does that mean you'll never have to pay it? No, you'll have to pay it. However, if you can't afford to pay it today, you don't have to pay it and you will not be penalized with interest charges. And this is the key word, interest charges and penalties. What you need to do is you need to go find out what is available to you. I know that on state level, there's going to be money either, you know, like Trump talks about, we're going to send a check out every household. Well, you got to make sure you're on that list. It's not just going to automatically happen. There's got to be somewhere where you're going to have to register. You're going to have to let them know that, hey, I wasn't a non-essential. I had to close down. And not just that, you're going to be able to collect it on two ends. You're going to be able to collect it on an end of being a citizen, and you're going to be able to collect on the small business programs also, because there's going to be programs for small businesses. So there's two areas where you got to look at. And what you need to do is do that and educate your staff on doing that. Like my friend Daryl, he had to lay off 19 people. Now, are 19 people going to go home and play PlayStation? Who knows what they're going to do? They probably don't even know that this is happening because they're not the type of person that's going to sit in front of the TV and listen to the news and educate themselves. I would like to first of all thank Keith, who spoke earlier on, because I learned so much from him. And I think it's important to take away from everybody you listen to and everybody who talks. It's important to take away what applies to you. We're here not telling you that everything that we're going to say applies directly to you. Some stuff will, some stuff won't. What Keith had to say is from 35 years experience in the military on the medical side. I think that's important considering the situation we're in today. So you need to go home, you need to sit down. Rennie talked about, I'm gonna repeat a lot of stuff, Ren, that you said, because it's just some of the things that we had talked about, and I think it's important. But I think that you need to go home, you need to sit down, and you need to think about you and your reputation. Do you want to take a risk and do stuff that's going to be stupid or come against your company maybe in the future? Absolutely not. So quit listening to the roo-ha-ha. We don't need Tony Robbins here today. We need real life. Okay, this is not somebody standing on the stage running back and forth and trying to pump you up. This is a reality check. We are professionals in our own rights, in our own experiences, and you know, where we've been successful at what we've done, and we're here to share some of that with you. Rennie's was talking about reading, educating. I think that's key. You need to educate yourself on a lot of things. You need to prepare yourself for your comeback. You know, all you guys have your boards in your shops, that's your pricing structure and so on and so forth. I can guarantee you that if you go back to work in a month from now doing the same thing you did before you close shop, you're not somebody that's educated. You're not somebody that's ready to go back to work. You're not somebody that's ready to grow your business. You know why? Times have changed. Times have changed the last 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 2 hours. We need to adapt. If you don't adapt, if you come back doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. If you're happy with that, good for you. Source money that is available at all levels. As Rennie said, there is money. There is ways to save yourself. We're not asking anybody to give us anything for free. If you went to your landlord and you sat down with them and you said, or obviously you're not going to go to him because we're social distancing. But if you reached out to your landlord on the phone or whatever, explained to him that, hey, I'm not an essential business. I had to close down. I'm asking you a favor. I'm not going to be in there. Could I get away with maybe just paying utilities for the next few months? I will catch up on my rent. I understand utilities is a day-to-day, but everything is off, so I'm going to minimize that cost. But on a day-to-day, and you know what? They're not going to evict you. First of all, I think there's a non-eviction notice policy that was put into place, so nobody can evict anybody. But it doesn't matter. You don't want to be the prick saying, well, you can't evict me, so no, I'm not going to pay. You want to have that businessman to businessman conversation so that your landlord feels comfortable with you and knows that, you know what, you're a real business person. I appreciate what you did and no problem. And you know what, when we come back, we'll add $500 to each month till we're caught up. Thank you. You know, and then when you need something done in your shop, your landlord's going to help you out. He's not going to think that guy was a prick. Screw him. So source money, adapt. You know, IGL, I'm going to speak for my company. We've adapted. You know, we're changing the way we're doing things. We're focusing globally on different things. We're working with governments at different levels with different products that they require. We're not focused on selling compounds and pads right now because you shouldn't be focusing on polishing cars right now. You should be focusing on your family and making sure everybody's okay. And what is it you're going to do to get to the next level? So we talk about, again, adapting. I can tell you at Walmart, some of the employees there are working 15, 20 hours because they got nobody. Couriers, so your DHLs, your FedEx, your UPS, these people are desperate. They need help. Your transportation companies, if you happen to have a DZ license and know how to drive a truck, my God, commerce is still moving. Products are still moving. They still need people. So, you know, are you stepping down because you're going back to a JOB? No, I'm adapting to the situation to help me and my family survive. You know, I think that the other thing you need to do is save, and cut. We talk about social distancing. Don't do like the idiots in California did yesterday. I saw on the news there was about 4,000 people on the beach. I'm sorry, if you were one of those 4,000 people, I don't want to know you. I'm sorry, delete me off Facebook. I don't care. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't want to know you. I think that you can do your grocery ordering online. They can come to your house. They can ring the doorbell 3 times. They can leave. You can open the door, grab your door. There's no reason for anybody today, in this day and age, with the technology we have, to leave your home. Unless it's life-threatening, unless it's something that's medical, there's no reason why you can't stay home and do what you're doing. So let's be smart. Let's all think about stuff. And don't be afraid to ask for assistance or help. My number, everybody knows it. And if not, I'm willing to give it. You know, you all got a pen and paper, 647-456-7764. I don't sleep much. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. If you're going to ask me detailing questions, forget it. I'm not the guy. If you want to ask me about life and business and how to survive and how to deal with certain situations, I can maybe help you. But you know what? Listen to people. There's going to be another thing coming on tonight at 6 p.m. I highly recommend that you listen to those people also and take the good from that also. Everybody's got good things to say. You know, not everybody makes a lot of sense sometimes, and that's okay. Don't listen to it. Just put it aside. But if you can get a couple of tidbits from everybody that make a lot of sense, you're going to be okay. That's all I got to say, Red.
Well, good job. It's a lot of key factors. I think my takeaway from Joel right now would that be is I would love to see each and every one of you that are on here to take an oath. And that oath is simple, is I will never do this to myself, my family, my business, or staff again. Money in the bank. It's great to have no debt, but if you have no money, if you have no cash on hand, you're not going to make it very far. And we got a lot of people finding that out right now. So take that oath with me, learn from this. Don't beat the shit out of yourself. I did that, you know, in other instances. I was warned. I was warned, man. My mentors warned me. I didn't heed it. Guess what? You got to listen to this. Now, there's some smart young people that have put some money away. and they're cruising through this. And there's some people that are already hurting just 10 days in. So Joel, well done. Thank you so much. We're going to come back to a couple things at the end because I've got a couple comments on just what you said. Brilliantly put. Okay, here we go. Hey, the right mindset, Bob Phillips. Now I got to take, and we got a couple comments. And Bob, are you there?
Absolutely, Rennie. I'm here.
Okay. Well, shoot, buddy, because you and I we've had a lot of magical conversations during this entire thing. And none of them have been depressing. They've all been pretty, I walk off the call and I am fired up. We see this as opportunity. So share kind of what we've been talking about, what you've been, as a friend, as a mentor, as a coach, a business partner. I can't wait for you to share your input.
No, thank you, Rennie. Thanks for putting me on the call here. Rennie asked me to be on the call because obviously, as detailers, we're all emotional people. And as business owners, we feel threatened at the time of change, and it creates anxiety, fear, and anger inside us. And, it's a natural progression. I mean, for us in California, this started on the 16th. So, and I had heard rumors of this lockdown over the weekend prior to that. And in my mind, the first thing I thought was, the anxiety associated with it. And I really couldn't wrap my head around that this could actually happen. I told myself, I go, no, that's impossible. It's not going to happen. And, the fact that we get anxiety over this is created because there's a lack of defined time. If somebody came to us and said, hey, you got to close your business down for 2 weeks or even 30 days, you could plan for it. But right now, it's the fact that there's no end game, right? We have no idea. So trying to plan for that creates an extreme amount of anxiety. It's the unknown. The next natural transition is fear. This is a totally new situation. There's nobody in our generation or nobody on the call here that has ever gone through this type of situation. It really wasn't until 1918 that back in 1918 when they had, can't remember what the Spanish flu that knocked out 33,500,000 people globally. So, we basically naturally have fear because we don't know. Our fathers may have gone through this. Maybe during World War II, there were some amazing things that happened that created some amazing experiences. But in our lifetime, we've pretty much always gotten, what we want. We have gone through financial downturns. This is totally different. This is not like any financial downturn that we've gone through. This is unknown. At least we knew that, the financial downturn happened and our business was cut in half. I can work on half my business. But when you really don't know what's going to happen, it creates a natural fear. Then your natural transition is angry. I don't know about you guys, but I was angry. I was pissed off. I was like, look, we've worked so hard. Everybody on this call has worked so hard to get where we're at. And it made us angry that this was going to change, what we'd worked on. Outside our control, we have no control. So we naturally thought things of conspiracy and all these things. But the bottom line is, these things are outside of our control. And all of these anxiety, fear, anger, they're all normal reactions. And this is what Rennie and I talked about on the call, because I went through all these things. And then I got to this level of, we got to turn to the American spirit. This is live, and the Canadian spirit, Joel. We got to turn to the spirit of our forefathers and think of everything that they went through. Let's face it, we've had it pretty good. We have not really had to face a serious challenge like this. This is our time, really, to step up and to basically turn that spirit on and make a sacrifice. This is a major sacrifice. We're all having to sacrifice. We're sacrificing for the betterment of humanity. And it's a time to step up and take that American spirit and take that spirit and do something right with it, right? So stay relevant in your business. For us, we're fortunate. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but we had a spare filling machine and a spare filling line sitting around that we purchased last November. And my brother and I came in over the weekend and we set it up, and we are now officially a hand sanitizer manufacturer. That could totally end because the supply of isopropanol and everything else we need to make it is limited, and prices are going through the roof. So we're just making it as long as we can, but we're doing everything we can to stay relevant. And so work on your business, even if you can't do what we did. You know, Rennie mentioned it. Work on your business. Now is time to improve. I'll tell you what, a year ago at this time, or, you know, last summer, we probably all would have said, man, if I could just get 2 weeks or 3 weeks to work on my business, take this time to do it and be comfortable back with it, right? The other opportunity is to give back and volunteer. I know Rennie mentioned that. There are so many needs right now. So many people need help. Elderly need help shopping for food. There's so many areas you can give. You could, like Joel said, you can go get a job. You could go to the local fire department, see if they need any help. I mean, everybody is stressed. So it's a time for people to give back, to volunteer, and like even maybe get a job. But the underlying message to the whole thing is we as individuals and businesses and humans, just like, you know, when they exited World War II and all the things that our forefathers went through, I'll tell you what, these challenges create stronger people and better businesses. So don't lose sight of that. We're going to look back on this 4 to 6 months from now, and we're going to go, wow, that was, you know, something we never want to go through again. But these create great opportunities, and make sure you're on point to participate in that. Don't get down on yourself. I went home at the end of last Thursday and Friday. And if you talk to my wife, when I got home at night, I was one mad son of a bitch. And it really wasn't appropriate because I was so frustrated. But, you know, I took the time to turn the corner, and I'm going to make something out of this. And I'm going to make sure that everybody I know makes something out of it. So it's just, we got to have the right mindset, guys. So everybody be strong. We'll make it through this. Thank you, Rennie.
You bet. Hey, thank you. Hey, Jody from Road FS, he added something really cool in. I just glanced and saw it, is that not only to go off of your point, Bob, of, you know, the elderly being in need, they need company. Just a phone call. Just call on people that, you know, especially people that are alone, or it may be an elderly couple where their children are distant or they don't have children. Make sure that they're okay. Make sure that their pets are okay. See if they need help. What about yard work? You can touch their lawnmower, go do things for them. You know, it's giving me an idea. We're supposed to get snow. I'm going to put it out there in my community. Anybody that's got, you know, physical challenges and can't shovel their own, I've got a snowplow in the front of my truck. I can get them undone. You know what I'm saying? And so thank you, because you just gave me ideas, Bob. And it's moving into spring, yard work. I mean, there's so many things. Okay, just an idea. God, I just got chills. Guys, I don't want to take away from the landscaping industry. I really don't. Don't become landscapers all of a sudden. But offering your community, those people that are older, that maybe they're on a fixed budget now, and this is going to hit them hard. Maybe their retirement, because they've got some investments, are going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? Offer to do things for them. You can go and be isolated and still help people out. You can still help people. But, you know, your local animal shelters, make sure that maybe if you got a few dollars, I bet the animal shelters, their funding has gone to the toilet. Maybe go save some dogs. Maybe go put a little bit of money down and say, hey, I want to save some dogs. Let's get them through this until you guys are through. You know, there's so many things that you can do that are going to help people. What about veterans that are maybe struggling right now? What about your VFW, your local VFW hall? Maybe make offers to help them. You know, what can you do is stay isolated. You know, is you can do a lot of things and still be a good human. So Bob, thank you. Oh, and Bob, by the way, there's been a lot of comments about you. You want to hear them? He's not going to answer now. Well,
I muted myself on purpose, Rennie.
Okay. So here's the deal: is there's a lot of comments, and there's several people saying you're pretty cute.
Here we go.
The distributor. The disturbing thing is it's mostly males. So just saying, okay? He is. He's, I'll tell you, if I aligned a different way, buddy, I'm just telling you right now. So, hey, Chris, do you want to go over some of our future efforts and what we're going to be doing?
Sure. Hey, Bob, just so you know, if Randy keeps giving you a hard time, you're welcome to put my name on all those bottles instead. So.
Good point. No, you don't. Never mind. I'll
Nice
shut up.
comeback, Chris.
Yeah, I'll shut up now.
Anyway, guys, we are going to, it's right here in front of the screen, but on the screen. But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Rennie's going to host a business build-up webcast. It's going to be, live, just like we're doing this today on Zoom and on Facebook. And the purpose of this is for him to share tips and insight that he's already worked on to just help us all build up our businesses. So we're going to start that, I'm guessing tomorrow morning. This is all stuff that we're putting together now. But and beyond that, we're going to continue to host live events like this, now and for the foreseeable future, just to help each other out. So I don't know, Rennie, you got something else to add to that?
Here's right before Diane's going to get on right now, I'm going to let her loose for a second. Is it starting tomorrow? We're going to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, a business buildup. Now, I'm just going to work out of my book. And so we're going to work through chapter 1. We're going to develop some good habits as an industry. I'm doing this with the Mafia. We've got Mafia coffee calls that we've done. We did a Sunday service. So to get back to the community, the detailing community and entrepreneurs, whether you're a PDR guy or PPF guy or a window tinter, doesn't matter to me, is that send everybody our direction. We all family. We're just going to walk through our book, a piece of a chapter at a time, do little segments. And again, this is all a give back. This is our way of taking and supporting you, which is a big part of our community, right? So we want to do that. And so we'll do that. And then also what I'm going to do is random. I'm going to just do random. I'll bring in individuals and panelists just to get a different perspective on how to survive this thing and interesting things they're doing. For instance, we're going to bring in the technology side of things. So we're going to bring in the software guys like Jody and Rod, and we're going to just talk to them. Jody just came up with one of the most innovative ways to reach out to people that early, just give them a call. I mean, that's the hearts that I wasn't thinking that way. That's what's brilliant about bringing all these different people together. So we're going to take and really mix it up. And then we're going to bring in, one day I'll bring in some of my friends that have survived other slowdowns so they can teach and educate people on the mindset to have. And so we're going to do a lot of that just randomly with the very, maybe a few hours notice or a day before. We'll start putting that together this week, but starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to start that business build-up, and we're just going to have a frank discussion and end it. We'll just go 15, 20 minutes, and then a little open-ended discussion. We're going to try to keep it to about a half an hour. With that being said, I want to take and have Diane come in, if you guys wouldn't mind. So Diane, come on over. She's going to step in, and she's up. You can. Come on over. There you go.
Hi, guys. So I wanted to say a few things. Thank you guys so much for being on. It's so important that everybody stays connected. You know, obviously we've got social distance, but we're so blessed. It's not like back in, the early 1900s where, we were not easily accessible. We've got video, we've got FaceTime, we've got all of these things. And so we're not as separate as it could be. I worry so much now, this victim mentality, you have to keep educating, and you have to go on. There's people out there, they're just expecting our government and everybody else to come to their rescue, and you've got to help yourself. You've got to educate yourself and then help others. And so I really want to thank first off, the panelists and everybody that's putting out this great information, because you're not being selfish, and you're reaching that hand out. This is a great time. We're all trapped in our homes. Everybody's always whining, oh, I don't have time for my marketing. I don't have time for this. This is the time that you spend getting all this stuff built up and ready to go when we finally pull out of this. Don't be on your PlayStation, be reading and be attending webinars, whether it's ours or, there's a ton of stuff out there. Be educating yourself, getting your marketing in place, getting your plan in place, so that when this does break and we become essential, that we're not caught with our pants down. And the other thing, one of the things that I've been, watching, because people don't want to be, obviously they want to be still working and all of this. Keith and everybody, we've been talking about, resources. At this point with recontamination, the resources that you have in stock right now, all of your products, all of your, everything that you've got, if you're expending them at this moment where recontamination is, 5 minutes to an hour away, when it gets to the busy time and, we're at that point where we can, start making money back and getting our lives back on track, those resources aren't going to be there if you waste them now. And so I hate to see everybody, prematurely get rid of, their stuff and then not have anything when it does get busy. And so, be planning, and then don't be a victim. I mean, everybody, it's woe is me. People are scared and they're stressed and they're panicked. Like Rennie said, we've got to calm down, and you've got to methodically and efficiently get us through it. But here's the thing, we've got to keep reaching out to each other. Calling the elderly and calling people that are shut in. It doesn't necessarily have to be those people. People need to know that you love them and that you're thinking. We get so fine pointed to, how bad we've got it, that, just a call saying, just thinking about you, love you, that could change somebody's whole attitude. And, we've got to all be able to reach out and vent to each other, and don't take it out on your families. They don't understand to the extent that what you're going through. And this should be a time to build your family relationships and build your relationships. So sometimes talking to somebody outside your immediate family that can understand what you're going through, even if it's just to vent, is just such a huge thing, because knowing that everybody else is in the same boat, you don't feel so alone. So don't punish your families. Use this time to get prepared for when, this does get released, and, we're back in business and truly essential at that point. And it's going to happen, but we got to just use the time wisely. I love you guys all, and, don't hesitate to reach out, but you've got to help yourselves. Don't expect people to come in with their capes and rescue you. Be proactive and help yourself.
Cool. All right. Thanks, baby. So we've got a lot of comments in boy, I'll tell you, boy, there's so many things. Chris, go ahead and let's, I'm going to go ahead and go through. Chris, would you pick some of them out? I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I've got already that I was noting. Some states are actually saying that owner-operators, single owner-operators with the correct PPE in situation can still operate. So check your local jurisdiction. And if they don't say it, that means no. Simple as that. Is there's letter of the law and spirit of the law. Man, so many people are just creating their own law. Keep yourself healthy. This is one point that somebody made. Keep yourself healthy. Right now, guys, we're in 2-a-days in football. For anybody that played football, we're in 2 days and they suck. Keep yourself ready for the Super Bowl of detailing, because I think when this comes out, A, we're going to lose a lot of people in the industry. B, with that, there's going to be a lot of people to see opportunities. So there's going to be a fresh new crew that are completely screwed up. So keep yourself in play ready condition so that you're ready when this thing does unleash. There's going to be products. Right now, I mean, I got a lot of you that are asking about ozone. I promise you this, we're bringing the experts in. We're trying to get this together. There's a lot of questions on here right now on available products. We're going to have to take, and this isn't going to be an instant fix. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there right now that I want to clarify. So until I do that, there's two individuals on this call right now, is Joel Keith, or three, Joel, Keith, and Bob, is that they're PNS and IGL are one of companies that are coming up with alternatives. There's a lot of companies going into high gear for production that they've gone from, Joel was telling me, I think from 150 plus, 170 plus SKUs down to 7. PNS is doing the same thing right now, is that they're keeping it, everything's still available through these different companies, but what they're doing is they've ramped up manufacturing to support the current needs. So a lot of that's going to be answered in the coming week or so. But again, it comes down to, there's so many other equations that you guys aren't looking at. Is I know you want to get in there and make money and stay alive, but what are you causing when you do that? So I'm going to kind of defer the product, the solutions, and this and that, because right now, really, just take in detail cars on the inside, they're going to be they have a chance of being recontaminated, and I just can't support that right now. As for doing exterior work only, I've got several of those questions popping right now. Is again, you're going to have to look at your local. The county sheriffs are involved in California now. They went down to shut down. The county sheriffs went to Tesla's plant and were shutting down Tesla. So if you think that, this isn't serious, is that each county jurisdiction, each city in each state is going to come down. But eventually, if we keep being reckless, the federal government's going to shut it all down. And so I want to kind of go on that. So let me go back over this real quick, see what else. Do you have anything else, Chris, on your side? That would be a good question that we have popping up. We got a lot of them.
Well, there's a handful of stuff in here. One that was asked early on was about ozone, and I directed them to some information on the I think it's Gensco website where they make ozone machines.
Yeah.
But if you have any insight on that.
I don't. We will get a hold of them and some other ones that we've been in contact with, and we will do one of these educational events. But I want to first off, I want to make sure that the statements that these companies are making are true. I want to cut through the bullshit. Not saying that they're full of bullshit. I don't want to tie my name to. I want to be tied to credible information. So
Make sure it's not a sales pitch.
Exactly. I don't want to be tied to a sale. And you can see right now we're not promoting products. None of us are. We're not. And the reason why is because right now is not the time to do that. And right now, honestly, you guys need to be hunkered down. That's my message. You guys are asking me, well, what about this work? You know what works? Staying at home right now. I mean, I hate to say it, but we're going to make this shit worse if we don't. And here's the deal. If you put an ozone machine in there and it doesn't work, now the ozone machine has that shit all over it. Now what do you do? Now you're going to go spread it to other cars. Or I've heard of people taking it into their homes. Well, great. I mean, what's that doing? I'm not saying ozone's not going to be an answer. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we need time to bring credible information to the market. And you as individuals are probably moving much faster. But here's the deal: is I'm trying to go out to thousands of people at a time, and all of us that are on the panel right now, my future panelists, are doing the same thing. The other thing is that I want to read through the bullshit. I want to read through because there's a lot of misinformation. And then I'm going to reflect that back to the CDC and see what they say. And so it's going to take time. The other thing right now is that I've got standing orders in my state, as do many of you in your states, to stand down. Simple as that. There's my answer. Chris, anything else?
We had one person asked about, doing some training in the future to be certified about being able to offer care or services with proper PPE. And is that something that we might be able to offer eventually? I replied to him, told him that probably be better if we offered some supplemental training to something like that, not necessarily provide the actual PPE training.
Right.
But, I don't know if you have any comments there.
I do. I think there's a lot of that that's going to pop up, and we can work with companies that specialize in that. I am merely a spoke in the wheel. I've got the training, but I am in no. I've got a good friend of mine that serves both in the Guard, and he's a San Bernardino County firefighter. He's a trainer. I went to several people. I couldn't reach him because he's actually on a task force right now. but I went to people I know, and though you've got to go to a certified trainer. We can orchestrate those things, but you know what? That's also a localized effort. There's going to be different organizations that are popping up that will train you on that. The detailers, you're going to have to make an investment. And then here again is one of the things that happens with this, that equipment has a shelf date. So you're going to have to rotate that equipment through. You're going to have a fair amount of it through. It's going to be several $100s, maybe more, maybe several $1,000s a year to rotate that through. If you want to be able to prepare yourself for the next outbreak like this, you can have a lot of money wrapped up into that. And again, each one of those pieces of equipment have a shelf life that you've got to be able to take in and deal with. So, okay, what else?
Stephen had a question about our thoughts on, doing a handful of jobs a week to support his family versus going out and getting a part-time job, for example, at a grocery store, something like that. How does he weigh the risk of one over the other to his family?
I've been pretty clear. I hate to say it, but you're going to take this shit home to your family. I've got a family too, and I understand that your concerns, but I'm going to be very clear. We've been ordered to stand down unless you meet the criteria of an essential business in your area. I don't think you should be operating. Unless you've got, especially if you, Stephen, having a family, you want to take that shit home. We don't know what this shit is yet. We really don't. I mean, we don't. I'm not the only one that feels kind of in the dark, is that everybody's speaking. One side of the aisle hates the other side. They're criticizing this. They're criticizing that. We got all these organizations. We're getting the CDC coming up with new information every day. We just had a cruise ship that the damn crap's lasting 17 days after the people disembarked the ship. My standing order to the industry is that unless you are an essential business operating, as I stated, within EMS, and unless you've got, I saw a picture of a dude last night with makeshift, he had gloves on that were technical gloves, not medical gloves. He had a trash bag over him. He had a respirator on with chemical and particle charcoal filters on it, but no medical grade filters, and his partner working behind him had nothing on. So, you're making yourself feel better, and that's it. You're part of the problem. You're part of.
Can I make a comment to Steve?
Absolutely.
Steve, instead of taking time out and working a couple of jobs a week to make money for your family, concentrate on looking at the municipal, the state, the federal level, and see what money's out there for you and your family. Consider that your job for the next few days or the next week, and go and get what's out there and available for you and your family. Start by doing that.
That is a great, here's Stephen, that's a thing. Here's the thing you might not have to, and I hate to say this because I'm as far from socialist as you can get. But right now the government's standing up, and right now the funds are there. That's going to dry up very quickly. Is that they're basically saying, hey, Stephen, we're going to pay you to stay home. We're going to pay you to do the right thing. Now, it might not be your normal income, but it's there. Now, I'll defer this. So, Stephen, look at what Joel just said. Look at what opportunities are there in your local community, your county, your state, and federal assistance that could be giving you some assets in the funds because you're a small business. That could be spend that week researching that rather than putting your family in harm's way. I so my heart yesterday. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't think any of you realize. Yesterday I was torn the hell up because I want everybody to go back to work. I want everybody to make a living, but this is so much bigger. There's no easy answer for me or other people. If I can't answer it, and the people that I spoke to, I just gave you the list of people I spoke to. These are scientists. These are chemists. These are doctors and RNs. These are professionals they are in their scope of work. We're not. Simple as that. We're not. Now with the next epidemic, hopefully we never face this the rest of our lives. I hope my kids never face this the rest of their lives. But in the event that we do, it's going to be a conscious decision to invest in that education and that equipment. So Diane's got a statement also.
I'm with Joel on this one. Definitely hit up all of those avenues first. If you do end up, going and getting an outside job, one of the concerns is, okay, well, I'm going to be out with the public. Now I'm going to be bringing it home. you know, you might have to stay in the garage for a bit. You know, you got to keep your family safe too. But if money is in that dire of a thing and you do have to go out, you need to, you know, quarantine and FaceTime with your family. You know, sometimes, you know, we have to play that hard, you know, make that hard choice. But if it's that level and you do, you know, protecting your family is first and foremost. And so, you know, you might be out sleeping with your car.
Okay. So good points. Happy, you know, this is the loving that we've got. This is how loving people are in this industry is. I just had Alex from Alaska say that Diane and others, Bob said to check in on elderly, that Jody up with Road FS said to check in with the elderly. So he just sent me a text and said he's been instructed to follow up with the elderly and see how they're doing. So how you doing, old man? You know, Alex, I've got a present for you the next time I see you. Okay, you whippersnapper. Okay, Chris, anything else? Well, we've got a lot. I know this is tremendous.
There's a lot of comments, not actually a bunch of direct questions, but
yeah, you know, and there are other people. There's people at banks. There's the medical field, you know, and all that is that they don't have the same contact. You got to remember, man, a car is a really tight area. And oh my gosh, sorry, my phone's just still blowing up. And so, you know, you've got to look at the realities, you know, and you've got to take care of yourselves. And I understand there's other alternatives right now, as Joel's mentioned to, then possibly, you know, again, back to Stephen, he made that great point. And Stephen, what if the outbreak starts with you? That's what you got to do. And I think there's a lot of social pressure on our leadership. I think this thing ran a little out of control, to be direct, but it is what it is. And we got to be responsible, because if you're a business owner, you've got to be responsible. I just made a hard line in the industry. I'm going to have a lot of arrows, and already do, of people, haters coming after me. I stood up what's right. You've got to make the decision to do. Is this helping me? Yeah. If you want to talk about lost revenue, let's talk about what we're going to lose next month. But Diane and I have prepared for that. We've got savings to dip into, and it took years to do that. So it's if you're not prepared with that savings, then the next time you'll be ready and you will save. You'll put a lot of money away. So, Chris, anything else that we can see?
Not any real questions. I mean, you just hit on it. You know, Rennie and Diane and I were not really detailing cars too much these days, but in training people, you know, the training business that Rennie runs is, you know, going to the side also right now.
It is.
We can't really do that either without, you know, being a risk or getting ourselves in trouble some way.
So we're doing the same thing as I'm addressing the April's class and telling them we've made every judgment call in the world, and we're having to delay the April class. We're going to take and open up polls for them. We're doubling up on our training. Usually we only have 2 trainings a month. Once this opens up, we're going to go to 2 or 3 a month to make up to those people. We've done the same conscious decision. This isn't just you. We've had to take and make a conscious decision to stop business as we know it. So I'm practicing what we preach. We are practicing what we preach. So is it tough? We understand that. It is. It's you know, we got a lot ahead of us, guys. And what we're going to do, like I said, a lot of questions on ozone. Ozone might be a great alternative. I don't know that yet. I suggest that if the CDC and the World Health Organization, if ozone was a great treatment, boy, I think you'd see big ozone machines all over the world, blowing. You know what I'm saying? I think the answer to this is, again, hunker down, stop getting into contaminated car. Okay, I'm going to give you an illustration. Is ozone a treatment? Okay, let's say it is. What happens when an infected person gets back in the car after the ozone's taken out?
Yeah, treatment's not there. Rennie, I just did some research I've been doing research on ozone and actually chlorine dioxide as well. I'm not done with my chlorine dioxide by any stretch. There is CDC guidance out there there is a paper that has an update of May 2019. It literally says Guidelines for Disinfection, Sterilization in Healthcare Facilities 2008. This is a CDC paper. It's on their website. It does say that ozone is a treatment. Here's my concern. You know what else it says? It says adequate. I'm not sure when I deal with something of a SARS variety, I want to take adequate as the standard with which I want to meet.
Absolutely. Well, and there's different
But
types.
that's everybody's, you know, they've got to make that decision for themselves, whether they want to go down that path. But again, the information is there. You guys have to assess that and work from that. If I were advising, I'll tell you what I would tell my division surgeon. I'm not sure that that's a course of action we want to say is a primary recommendation. If it's our only choice, maybe we go to it, but I wouldn't make that my primary choice.
Well, here, if you guys are all going to go that way, or if you're going to go with chemical, and hey, everybody on this call, there's several panelists right now that have got an interest in selling you chemicals. There's a reason why we're not. It's recontamination. So if you're going to sell ozone as a cure-all for this, then I would expect you to also sell in there is that ozone, in the event that we do find it is effective, which I have not found yet. There's a reason why I said stand down, because there's still a lot of unknowns. Here's the deal, is that if ozone is, and you're selling that, is that, are you also going to include in that, but it does not protect you from future recontamination of the vehicle. Are you going to be that honest and tell them the truth?
Rennie, can I make a comment on it?
Absolutely.
So when you're ozoning, first of all, there's different levels of ozone machines, number one. Number two, once you've done ozoning, any room or facility or whatever, you must air out the space before you can let children or animals or whatever go in. By the way, that's something that's important, because if you're just an amateur and you take an ozone machine, put it in somebody's home, and there happens to be the little puppy family dog, you might come back to a surprise. So, you know, again, this is not something that you're trained in or experienced in or totally understand. Like Keith says, it wouldn't be my first choice either. It's like these damn steamers. I'm seeing videos of people steaming. Now they think they're Superman, for fuck's sakes. Oops, sorry, I shouldn't have swore, but it just frustrates the shit out of me. So, you know what? Quit being scientists. Quit being lab specialists. Quit being steamer extraordinaires. Just listen to what we're saying. Shut the goddamn door. Lock yourself in your house. Figure out a different way to do it. You want this to end? You want us to go back to work and make money? Stop doing what you're doing. Point blank simple. Stop.
It's like a kid at recess. It's like when you're in kindergarten and all of us are in the same class, and one kid keeps on getting disruptive, and the teacher says, if you guys don't start acting right, I'm not going to let you go to recess. Is that we're going to get out of this faster if we just stop spreading it, you know? Is that I just got I won't mention his name, but they're going to the beaches, and I won't mention the location, and they're spraying people with water to get them off the beach. They're just spraying them down. And so I will not mention that, but it's happening. Is that this is ridiculous. And again, 2 weeks at a time, that's all I'm asking for. It's 2 weeks at a time. But if we keep going this direction we're going as an industry, we're going to get a black eye. Somebody's going to let this loose. Somebody somewhere is going to get some bad press, and it's going to cost us all.
Hey, Rennie, just to follow up on the ozone, in bold letters and quotes, more research is required to clarify the effectiveness and reliability of fogging, UV irradiation, and ozone mist to reduce norovirus environmental contamination. And in parentheses, it says no recommendations / unresolved issues.
There you go. There's our answer.
So
Right there.
it's proven that it can do that, but it is not, how should we say, confirmed. And so again, guys, this is where doing your research comes into play. And I'm happy to share this link. By the way, I shared it on the Mafia links, and Chris, anything I've shared there, you can share with the public, however you guys intend to do that with your stuff going forward. As I say, this is not me saying this. This is the researchers and scientists, as Joel said, who are professionals at this, have said, We don't know. And when the guy who's supposed to know the most says, I don't know, abundance of caution, take a step back, evaluate it, whether it's really essential for you to get into this when you don't know, and follow the guidelines we're being given. I mean, I'm telling you, you may not like our president. He says some goofy stuff. I'm with you on that. But when his Surgeon General and when his folks at Center for Disease Control stand up there and tell me something, I have to take that at face value. They're smarter than me. They have more degrees than me, and they know what they're doing. So if we will please just listen, follow that process, stay positive, build your mindset, focus yourself in. Find, ebooks is another big thing. Rennie, you talked about people, getting educated. The survivor mentality. You and I probably read that book more times than we care to admit.
Yep.
Read the book. It
Yep.
doesn't just apply to hanging on the edge of a mountain or living through a natural disaster. It applies to day-to-day things like this too. So,
Absolutely. Another
my
great
two
freedom.
cents, but I just wanted to read that to you guys because, again, I'm just trying to go to source documents that are actually valid and have scientific research behind it.
Here's the deal: is we've got several manufacturers. Keith worked with PNS. I've got my own my name on a dang brand. I'm in the I'm the spokesperson for PNS. Joel and I we've hosted events together. You're going to see a lot of leading brands. We're going to bring in all the coating companies for a panel here in the next week and have them sit there and discuss what they're doing and what they're thinking. Joel's going to be part of that, I'm sure. We're going to bring people in. Here's what I'm doing. I've got a vested interest financially to sell you something. I'm not selling you something right now. Okay. I'm not, nor is Joel, nor is Keith, nor is Bob. We're telling you the facts. Here's the deal. Anything, if I sell you something, if I come out, which we're going to, we've got a product, we're like, the president's opened up this, what did he just do with the acquisition of he just enacted Keith, help me out.
It's part of the War Powers Act. It's the War Acquisitions Act. And he hasn't actually done anything more than enacted it. He has not actually acted on it, but he has challenged private industry that are not in that stream of production to enter it. So most people know the major auto manufacturers. He has challenged to step in and assist in or help produce ventilators and those type of machinery. If the president so chooses, he can step in and take over industries and forcibly put them into that business. He hasn't gone there yet, but he has enacted the legislation to allow him to do that.
And you know what? He won't need to because, as Bob said, we got the American spirit. The world's got the spirit. It's a worldwide spirit. Companies are going to come in. They're going to get items, chemicals, equipment that will help us with this. They're going to take and help us to acquire those things, and companies are going to take and start production of those things to fill a gap, and it's going to happen. But again, I want to it keeps coming back. I keep getting questions. Well, what can we do to do business right now? I think we've covered that. We're beating that dog over and over. That's a dead horse. Is that, you know what? If you want to open up shop and risk things, that's your call. All I'm going to say is that I'm going to, if somebody takes and starts a freaking spread of this shit in your local market and you start shaming the industry, you're done in this industry. I won't have to say a word. Is that the industry is going to come after you like you've never done. You're done. You're done because we can't have one person ignorantly risk it all for all of us. Now, if you've got collector cars or something like that, and you're using safe practices and you're staying busy just daily with trickle in, you know what? And you're staying low and you're not causing issues, I'll let you be the determining factor of that. But if you go out there and you think that you're chasing the world down, we see you in makeshift PPF that you think is good enough. We see you using chemicals that the CDC hasn't approved. You're part of the problem. You're not a solution, and you're being very selfish. And there's other alternatives that Joel has shared with you that you can go out and look into this week. And you're being ignorant. Go out and look into those things. That's what it's set up to do, is to help us. Hopefully it's there. I have not looked into it yet. I've heard of those things popping up. I think it's legitimate. I just don't know any more about it than that. So, Chris, anything else? We can go ahead and move on. I think we've lost a lot of people, so I think it's time to go ahead and shut this show down.
We're going a little long. I would just, we keep getting some questions about, different products or processes. I would just recommend people really reach out to those companies to find out exactly what they claim or don't claim.
That's it.
And there's an easy way to identify whether they have a product that's valid. They will have an EPA listing with an EPA certification number for their product if it does what they say it will do, and it's approved for decontamination. There's a lot of products out there that will kill, bacteria and viruses. But which ones are listed by the CDC and have a registration number with the EPA? Those are the ones that you need to be looking at. So, and he's right. Contact the manufacturer. If they can't produce those things, you have to take that and evaluate that for what it is. That's not to say that they don't work. It's to say that, do they meet the standard that you want to try to achieve to protect you and your customers?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we've extended this. So panelists, thank you so much for everybody. Like I said, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we're going to start, and I'm not going to go into, hey, how do we get back operational? You'll know it when we're operational. There'll be the order lifted, and I'll be the first cheerleader out there. And matter of fact, I should find a cheerleading outfit. And just when it's,
oh boy,
I should do that day that it's released. Yeah, I'll do a little cheer, man. I think that's got to happen.
Only if you put a spray tan on, white boy.
Right. All right, guys. Hey, stay safe. I know a lot of this message isn't what we want to hear, but it's the cold hard facts. A lot of good things coming across with a lot of good people sharing good information. Make sure to source out the good from the bad. I know there's an event tonight that's going on. I can't remember what it is, but it's all over social media. Get on there, educate yourself. There's a lot of people putting a lot of effort into all of you. So take care of yourself.
Hey, real quick, Rennie, I know Big D wanted to let everybody know they could reach out to him if they needed anything too. Big D, you got any contact info?
Hey guys, you can go on Facebook and find me, dlyons@detaillex.com. Hey Rennie, I just wanted to share something with you just now. I told Chris before we go, since yesterday, Lexington has doubled our cases just since yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is serious. And just so you know, the CDC thing, I forgot to tell you, this isn't regulated by the police. This is by the health department and the CDC. So if the policemen are telling you can do something, as Keith kind of explained that, yeah, good luck. So guys, be careful, be safe. Rennie, thanks for all this. Keith, Bob, Joe, I love you guys. Appreciate it very much.
Got it, man. Hey, take care, everybody. God bless.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.